Pop, 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 cock-a-doodle-doo, boo-boo, dibble-dibble-dop, tick-tock, knock-knock, boom-boom, splat.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today is going to be kind of a somber video. I'm going to be doing a get ready with me chit chat life update style video, just kind of go through what's been going on in my life. If you are subscribed and you follow me, you know I have kind of taken a little bit of a break. There's been a lot going on in my life, and I'm ready to just share with you guys what has been going on. All right, you guys, it has been a minute. I'm not even sure where to start. I think it's funny that I've chosen a get ready with me style video to do, being that I have not been in front of the camera in so long, because I have such a hard time doing get ready with me. It's just putting makeup on while I'm talking, but I'm not really sure how else to give you my life update in like a fun, interesting way. The look I'm gonna tell you up front that I'm creating is kind of like lightness coming out of the darkness, because I feel like that's where I'm at right now. No judgment. I don't condone drinking unless you are of legal age. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Makeup, or not Makeup Forever, but Sephora sent me this package. I'm sure they probably sent it to like everybody that adds photos to like their online gallery. Thank you for participating in Sephora's Beauty Insider community. It's just 2 of the new artist color pencils. So I'm gonna see if I can try to incorporate these into this look. I got it in this shade Up and Down Tan and whatever black. So actually, yeah, I'm gonna definitely use the whatever black. I'll have to see if I can open these. I'm like the worst when it comes to opening these. All right, so what's been going on with me? Basically, Eric and I left to go to Napa, and life was already super like busy. So I let everybody know that I would just be taking a quick break. I mean, we were only in Napa for like 4 days, and then I would be getting right back to it. We took a red eye home. It was just exhausting. I mean, I think by the time like 3 o'clock rolled around, we were like ready to just pass out. And I got a phone call from my mom that my grandmother was being admitted to the hospital because she'd, I don't know, come down with a bladder infection, a UTI. I honestly was not even like all with it when my mom was talking to me about it. I just realized I still have lotion in my nose. I don't know if you guys saw that. I just got out of the shower. And yeah, she was just like, Grandma's in the hospital. She has a UTI. It's not good. She's refusing to get antibiotics. She's refusing to eat or drink. I don't know if I really understood or comprehended like the depth of the situation in that moment. And I was like, okay, do I need to go to the hospital? My mom's like, no, you can come by tomorrow. And so, yeah, like I kind of left it at that. So I went to sleep. Oh, concealer in my hair. Let's just pretend it's not there, okay guys? Anyway, I woke up the next day. I spoke to my mom. She couldn't really talk. They were in with the doctor, so I was like, okay. I wasn't even sure at that point where she was. I called my mom after the gym. My mom was like, it's not good. You need to come now. And I'm like, okay, like still not understanding, like still not, I don't know, like I've lost people in my life, but I don't think the situation was as intimate as this was. I don't even know if that makes sense at this moment, but I get to the hospital and my grandmother is pretty lucid. I mean, I don't, my mom was like, she's hallucinating, because I guess in elderly people, when they get UTIs, they can just kind of hallucinate and be very confused. This I was all very unaware of prior to this experience. And my mom had told me on the way over that she didn't even want an IV. They were going to be taking the IV out, and she had just made up her mind that she was ready to go. And I guess this has been an ongoing thing with my grandmother that I didn't know. I mean, thinking back, I guess she had just like checked out a while ago. I think she was just ready. She's 87 years old. I don't know. Like, everything was just kind of very confusing for me. The first thing that she asked me about was my husband and his job, because he had been in an interview process during all of this as well, or going through an interview process. And it's just funny because she's always loved Eric, and my mom looked at me like she couldn't believe how lucid and how much she remembered. Anyways, long story short, I mean, I feel like after that conversation ended, she just started like asking me and asking my mom like how long it was gonna take. Like, when they draw the curtains in the hospital room, like, is that when it's time? And then she would just get confused and start talking about like random things. And my mom went out to talk to the doctor, and she was getting more confused, like asking me about when he's gonna die. And I think she was thinking about my grandfather or something. I don't know. But I basically had to remind her, like, if you're not gonna take your meds and this is what you've been talking to mom about, like, you're gonna die. Okay. So there was a lot of back and forth. I guess in the end, because she was just really refusing to take anything. She didn't even want to take pain meds because she's been so uncomfortable, which I know was part of everything. It was decided that she was going to get moved to hospice. And I think still, it hadn't like sunk in that this was going to happen. For sure. Like, I was talking to my sister. I don't know. Get it together. So anyways, she gets moved to hospice, and everything gets really real. My family all starts booking flights to come in, and I don't know if it's my age or what, but I've had people I love die before, but I have never watched it happen the way I watched it happen, like this. And the thing that I get upset about was when I was at the hospital with her. I was there for a long time and she was awake. And when I left, I didn't say bye. I don't know why I didn't say bye. But I didn't. I mean, she knows I was there. And it's so funny because, you know, every family has their shit. Excuse my French, I don't normally curse on this channel, but this video is gonna be different than my other videos. She would always, you know, make comments about weight. It was either you're too fat or you're too skinny. And it was like the first thing I said or she said to me when I walked in was a comment about like how skinny I was. Ugh, Graham. I stayed as long as I could with her at the hospital, but I had to pick up the kids and then, well, just Parker, because right before we left for, was it right before? No, it was literally this day. It was this day. I swear everything in my life like was like hitting the fan, I feel like, at the same time. I left the hospital. And I showed up to get the kids, and I hadn't been on my phone all day really because of obviously everything going on. And when I showed up at the school, the director of the preschool was like, "Oh yeah, I guess you saw the email." And I was like, oh my God, like what email? What are you talking about? Because my younger son, Parker, has been really misbehaving, like acting out. I don't know why. There hasn't been any changes at home, but you know, just like kicking teachers, pulling friends' hair on the playground, just being defiant. He gave up naps like a while ago. And at his age, he's in like the pre-K 2s. At his age, they're still supposed to be napping if they're staying past lunch. And Grayson, my older son, we have him signed up for this like academic extended day program. So to avoid having to do 2 pickups, because the school isn't super close to the house. It's like, it's a drive. We keep Parker there and I pick them both up at the same time. I have to give the school credit. They've tried, I feel like, everything they possibly could. It's not like, you know, this was like a first offense for Parker. Anyways, so it just got to a point where, you know, they were like, "We're really sorry, but he can't stay anymore." And I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe this is happening right now. Just because that extra hour, for whatever reason, it just helps me out so much, like with getting like YouTube and like Instagram stuff done, or if this was not the right brush, or if I have clients, a lot of times like the time that works for them is like, it's perfect. It gives me just enough time to go shop with them, teach them how they're doing or how to do their makeup, and get to the school for pickup. And picking Parker up and then having to go back and get Grayson is just like, it's just challenging. It wasn't really what I wanted to hear in that moment. I was so upset about my grandmother. Obviously, she didn't know that. The school didn't know that. But I'm just like, great, okay, cool. So I did explain to the preschool the situation that was going on with my grandmother. And I was like, is it okay, you know, if tomorrow, just so I had a little bit more time with my mom and my grandmother, if he could stay one last day? And they were like, yeah, no problem, cool. Next day, go to see my grandmother, and I guess from the minute that they transferred her into hospice, they gave her, I'm trying to remember what they gave her. It was like Ativan, just something so she could finally relax because she was so uncomfortable. She fell asleep. She could finally sleep. But once she fell asleep, she didn't wake up again. Yeah, we slowly watched her die. Like, I've never done the hospice thing like close up like that. Like, my grandfather went to hospice, my husband's grandfather had gone to hospice, and you know, you hear stories, but seeing it like that and watching it happen, it just makes me like really sad. Like, I'm not saying like, you know, there's definitely ethical implications, but it's like, you know, you have your animals, your pets, and when they're in pain and their quality of life isn't good anymore, you can like make that decision, and it's like sad that a person's body has to go through what we watched. Part of me wonders if maybe I shouldn't have kept going back. Like, maybe I should have just kind of let it be. But I don't know. I'm great memories, and she's finally not in pain anymore, and that's what I have to tell myself. My boys got to say bye when she was sleeping. That obviously brought up some tough questions, and you know, it still comes up every now and then, and that's hard. trying to explain, you know, to a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old where Gigi went. Oh, I knew this video was gonna be hard. I think that waiting process was like really the hardest part of that experience, just kind of the watching and the waiting. So let's move into the next reason why I've kind of, or had taken a step back to just kind of be with family and all that. Same day, I was with Grayson at his appointment with the ENT because shortly before we'd left for Napa, I was having a conversation with Grayson and I said something and he like comes right up to my ear and was like, what? Like he puts his ear, I'm sorry, he comes right up to my mouth. He puts his ear in front of my mouth and he was like, what? And, you know, looking back, there had been moments, you know, and it was always in the morning. Like Grayson would come into our room in the morning and we would say something to him and it was like, buddy, did you hear what we said? He was like, no. But then like throughout the day it was fine. I mean, and this was probably when we noticed that like a couple years ago. And this child, I know he's mine, but he's incredibly intelligent. He's had zero issues, with his speech, his, you know, just everything at school. I just thought it was selective hearing, and then I feel bad because it's like, how did you miss this? But same day my grandmother passed, she hadn't passed yet. We were at the ENT and Grayson was getting all the testing done, and we had been in this like soundproof room, and it was like, I don't know, as soon as the lady who was doing the testing opened the door, she was like talking about how my phone was ringing and ringing, and I was like, oh, and I just knew, my heart sank. That's when we got the call about my grandmother. And I was like, oh my God. And so then the lady was like, she was kind of like not super nice. She was just kind of like, would you like to continue with your appointment today? And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I just found out that my grandmother died. But yeah, like, let's go, give it to me. And she was like, well, your son has maximum hearing loss. He's nearly deaf. Let's go into the next room and wait for the doctor. And I'm like, awesome. Like, really? Anyways, the doctor came in, the doctor was really nice, and he was like, this is temporary. You have to know, this is temporary. Kids are so adaptable. He was like, watch. And whenever Grayson would turn around and wasn't looking at you, that's when like he wasn't really hearing. But the second he would turn around, the doctor was like, focus on his eyes, and he would be looking at your lips. Like he learned how to read lips, I guess. Like, I don't know. The whole thing is just crazy to me. So at that point, we were like, we need to schedule the surgery. They were like, we're waiting on clearance, and I didn't fully understand. It was a whole issue, which I won't get into, but I guess it's because Grayson was born with a heart defect. Basically, his aorta is backwards, so they needed to get clearance from his cardiologist that he was like cleared to be able to have the anesthesia and get the surgery done. That took longer than I wanted to. I think it took like 3 or 4 days to finally get the surgery scheduled. But finally it did get scheduled, and I'd spoken to quite a few people. When I finally did go back on to Instagram, I still, as of this moment, haven't posted anything on Instagram, but I do my stories, and that's, you know, I kind of went on there and let everybody know what had been going on. I'd gotten so many messages from people that had had their children get that surgery done, the tubes, and it's like a really minor surgery these days. I can't believe how quickly we got into, the doctor took us back when we went to the surgery center, and I think it was like maybe 20 minutes later that he'd come back to say the surgery was done. We did have to go ahead and remove the adenoids, but whenever he starts waking up from the anesthesia, we'll call you back. So then we just kind of waited. Coincidentally, I'd run into a girlfriend of mine the day before. She was telling me about her son. She was like, be prepared. My son was so pissed waking up from the anesthesia, like pissed. She was just like, be prepared. When we walked back there, we just heard Grayson wailing. I'm like, what the is going on? And I mean, it was a hard sight to see. I mean, he had like blood in his ears, there was blood on the pillow, a little bit of blood coming out of his nose. He was trying to rip the IV out. I hate everybody, I'm never coming back here, it hurts. He never once complained about like this area or his ears, it was the IV. He was like, I want it out. And that was hard. We had to wait like an additional 20 minutes for them to take it out. That whole experience, just having him get off of the anesthesia or having the anesthesia wear off, that was the hardest part. I would say about 15 minutes into the car ride home, he was starting to act much more like himself. By the time we got home, I don't know if you guys follow my Instagram stories, but you know, he was sitting there and it was immediate that he was noticing all of these new sounds. It was like we put on one of his favorite shows of the moment. It's like Sammy and Co., some random show on Netflix that he loves. And he was like, his eyes lit up like everything. He was like running around, like he kept hearing things, trying to figure out what things were. The next day we were leaving, he stayed home with me and we were just gonna go. I told him we were gonna buy him all new clothes. And I was drinking a water bottle and like the, you know, squishing of the water bottle, the plastic, he was like, what was that? And just seeing that light in his eyes, like it kind of, I think it just made everything seem bright again. And I was starting to see color in the world. So that was that. P.S. I don't know if you guys have seen these e.l.f. eyelashes. They're the Luxe Lash Kits. These are so pretty. I have so much darkness going on. I don't even know if you're gonna see them, but what the heck. And I wanted to show you this bag that I got for travel. I was thinking maybe I would do a separate video on that going forward. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comment section down below. I just think these eyelashes are really, really pretty. Don't know if you can see them. They're $4. And then these nails, you guys, these are fake. And I'm kind of like, I wanted to put them on again. I was wearing them when I went to see my grandmother for the last time. And she was like, she could not get over, like she thought they were like the prettiest, the coolest thing. And I think I want to do a video about these nails. These nails were $6.99 and they're like legit drugstore press-on nails and they're incredible. So yeah, let me know if you want to see that too. Anyways, let's get back to what has been going on in my life. All right, so now we're gonna backtrack a little bit. I think I'd mentioned already that Eric was in the process of interviewing. I don't talk much about, you know, Eric and his job on here because it just doesn't seem relevant, but he is an attorney and he had been wanting to just do more litigation. That's when you're in court. I don't know if I like fully understand everything and how much I should be talking about stuff. He did tell me that I could like talk about it at this point. That interview process had started, oh man, I mean, probably close to a month ago. I mean, from start to finish, it probably took about a month. He went down to Miami to interview with this firm and the interview went really well. And I was like, you know, mixed emotions, you know, happy for him that the interview went well. But of course I'm like, awesome, we're gonna move to Miami now. He came home from the interview and he was like, you know, I don't want you to get excited because it's not 100%, but the firm might open a location in Tampa. And I was like, what? Like, seriously? How amazing would that be? And the next thing we know, somebody was gonna be up in Tampa and he was gonna meet with them and that went well. But of course, it's all coming to a head the same week that my grandma gets admitted to the hospital. I remember we were thinking like, oh, maybe, you know, we'll find out before Napa, but we had not figured that out yet, or we had not found that out yet. They got back to him and they sent an email basically saying, you know, they had some really exciting updates for him about the Tampa firm and they really couldn't wait to chat with him. And I'm thinking to myself, because I'm just such a pessimist, like, it's bad. I kept thinking to myself, if he got the job, why wouldn't they just say, like, congratulations, here's your offer? But they offered him the job. They offered him basically an opportunity that he couldn't refuse. And it was honestly, like, it was amazing. I feel bad because it was like the Thursday before my family left. So, like, Grayson had his surgery Tuesday the 14th of this week, and this was like last Thursday. So I feel like I wasn't like fully ready to celebrate. Like, I was still just so upset about my grandmother. I still feel really bad about that. I will say though, the firm is lucky to have Eric. Eric is like an incredibly gifted attorney. Like, he's just so smart. He's so smart. So, babe, if you're watching this, I love you and I'm so proud of you and you fully deserve this. So we, needless to say, have had a ton going on, and I just wasn't ready to talk about it yet. And I just didn't want to. Like, I wanted to, it didn't feel right to me. Like, I wanted to take some time, be with my family, grieve, because I know that's necessary. And I feel like I did that. I don't necessarily feel like I'm like over it. I don't know if I'll ever be over the loss of my grandmother. I mean, I just, for a while there, I was waking up and like having nightmares about the way like she was breathing and hearing it over and over again. I just wasn't in the right space. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this look off camera and come back to wrap things up with you guys. All right, guys, so here's the final look. I'm not really sure if like all of the colors are picking up, but like I said in the beginning, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do today, I just kind of wanted like a really dark, smoky eye blended up into some bright yellow. And I wanted that to symbolize just that life can be so dark sometimes and it can seem so overwhelming, but you can get through anything if you surround yourself with people that love you, that you guys take care of each other and you raise each other up. And it's just such a reminder of how precious family is, and know that you just never know when you're not going to be able to tell them that anymore. I know that actually is kind of a depressing way to like end things, but I mean, it's just kind of true. This too shall pass. Like, I'm trying to put my thoughts together here and articulate everything and wrap everything up with a nice bow, but I guess that's just not the way life is sometimes. But things are good now. I'm in a good place, and I'm just so grateful for you guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. As always, if you aren't subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing before you go. I usually now say I post 2 beauty videos every week, but I think it's gonna be about 1 video each week. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for being here for me and understanding that I needed to take some time, but I'm back. So hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, bye.